Okay, Alex Answer here. October 28th, 2015. It's 7:50 in the morning. This video is something that will echo something I've said in the past. And I saw somebody in the SLV Just Us group post a request for others that are interested in a prayer group or a prayer circle or going to a church. She feels that it might be a wise thing to do. And I agree. I think that what we're really dealing with is spiritual warfare. But you don't have to go and deal with that through one particular means. Now, if you have a number of people who believe in the same religion and they're all Christians, then they probably should come together in the flesh off Facebook and have a prayer circle and create that field of energy, create that intention for the Supreme Being, for the Creator, that which some choose to call God, but it's a much larger concept than the God that some people have been taught to believe in. I'm not a religious person, but I have been on the spiritual path for a number of years. Being on the spiritual path does not mean you're perfect. Being on the spiritual path does not mean that you don't even create mistakes for yourself to learn from. No doubt I've created mistakes for myself to learn from in this lifetime, to help me evolve spiritually. I feel like living in Portland gave me a lot of experience dealing with the paranormal and the supernatural. Archons, by the way, is Greek for ruler, so it is not a term to describe a specific species of aliens or something like that. Archon, or archons, is really describing something at the top of the hierarchy that includes all these potential entities and critters operating in our matrix. Because archons are jinn are demons, and there is a overlap. When you get beyond the word, you're dealing with the same thing. When you look at the older texts, you see this ongoing battle of wills, spiritual warfare. You see the writings. You see evidence throughout the years of mankind writing about a parasitic force duping the human species, lying to the human species, creating false gods, redirecting attention. We look now at technology surpassing our humanity. We look now at the documented evidence of staged world wars, false flag attacks. We see now the amount of people on this planet that are choosing to remain asleep and instead serve the archons, serve the police forces, serve the Federal Reserve, serve the media monopoly, all those brainwashed anchors that will continue to lie simply because someone's signing their fat checks because they're slaves to the archon world of materialism, which is how they pull people in. They pull people in through their materialism. They pull people in through their lust. They pull people in through their limited idea. I'm Hispanic. I'm white. I'm black. I'm Arabic. I'm of this bloodline. Well, I'm of that bloodline. And it's all insane behavior. And that's where all these little wars come from, and religious fanaticism, these ideologies, these archon ideologies in truth. Islam, controlled by the archons. The Vatican, controlled by the archons. Darker aspects of other belief systems, the mainstream New Age movement promising salvation and a rapture to spaceships above the planet. Archon program as well. And so, I told you that to tell you this. This whole thing in Costilla County, we're dealing with a collective hive mind of seemingly possessed community members, and they are hell-bent on pushing people off their land, people that are on their land doing no harm to the people in town. So it's malicious in nature. It's cruel in nature. It's deceptive in nature when you have people making false allegations that there are white supremacists out there. You have demonic activity coming out of San Luis. And so we need to zero in on the fact that this bloodline or this ruling family of San Luis is taken over by evil and all those underneath them. In addition to that, which we'll talk about in a future video, other forces of evil are at play that are paying off San Luis. Lewis or Louis Bacon is suspect number one. Ted Turner is next to him. They have donated actually quite a bit of land to the federal government after they bought it up from Forest Park years ago. So you're really rich, you come here, you buy up the land, and then you just give it back to the Department of Interior. Here, government, take care of it. We're billionaire conservationists, whatever the fuck that is. And naive people that are stuck in their little left way of thinking, left or right, it's still two wings of the same vulture, the same predator vulture. And so you have people that are subscribing to a certain political, ideology, and they don't understand that these guys did this for a reason. You're dealing with a massive land grab potentially taking place to pave the way for Agenda 21 or Agenda 2030 as it's being called now. I think we're going to be revisiting something like that. We're going to be potentially seeing something like that in Colorado as they try to almost close the loopholes that allow people to live a life in freedom in a police state. Loopholes. Like people going off grid and doing what they want to do up in the mountains away from Babylon as it burns. Literally, are there forces at play here that are paying off Costilla County or San Luis, whatever we might call this arbitrary town, village, micro kingdom? But there's evil involved when you're dealing with no feelings, no empathy, when you're all about power and control, when you're all about the rich, and you're all about destroying the poor, or murdering the poor, or pushing out the poor, when you have no feelings, when you're hardened like a rock, and you, like those that came before us, have thirst for the gold of this world, for materialism. It's a sickness. That actual sickness of those that inhabited this region a long time ago and their thirst for gold, it caused them problems. Today, it's a metaphoric gold of wealth, riches, and praise. And we see the sickness that it brings some people and how they are allergic to those of us with a different energy than theirs. Coming in within 30 miles of them, 20 miles of them, get to the heart of the issue. By actually being here, we're affecting the reality. That's why, for whatever reason, they don't know why they want us out of here. They just want the newcomers out. Before, they weren't out here doing this stuff, I don't think. To some of the people that were out here acting like fools, it's only recently that good people have been coming out here, which makes this whole thing insane. It's like they don't understand how insane they are. There are good people now moving out here that understand compost toilets, that want to grow food, that want to build adobe homes, that want to get their permits, that want to live a safe, quiet life. And quite frankly, these are the type of people, some of them, that you could rely on in a real emergency or disaster. These are people you may want to come to their aid in the event of a disaster. And in the event of an unfortunate event, they may come to your aid. I was out here a couple years ago. It wasn't like that then. So now people are coming out here of a certain consciousness that are able to work with other people. And something directing San Luis wants to come in and destroy that. I don't have the answer as to how we deal with this. But video by video, I'll give you one little tip or introduce one simple idea. And this one is to ground out that negative energy, demonic energy, controlling that town and those people's minds. Now, I'm not advocating that we try to change their minds with the power of our minds. I'm saying that in Costilla County, you have the town of San Luis and you have the prairie. And if we get rid of the name Costilla County and we just look at the region and its history, you have a history of angry spirits. You have an area with a lot of ufology, a lot of stories of a lot of things that go bump in the night, things relating to skinwalkers. You have a violent history where the Spanish came in, raped and murdered the Native Americans, and we saw the Ute Indians eventually being put on the Ute reservation after they were used as mercenaries to wipe out the other Indians that didn't have weapons, that didn't have horses. That's really bad energy. That's invasion energy. That's war energy. That's rape energy. All that is negative energy, and it's still out there. And so there's something about these archons or evil spirits that are boosted, I think, by these solar flares, and then people start acting weird, and they don't know why, and they don't want to access their brain to look at the patterns and go, it is interesting that it's like history's repeating itself and it's affecting us. We really don't want to be this angry, and I realize when I leave this region, it feels very different. I like it. I'm attracted to Costilla County. But when I leave it, it's like I'm leaving that vortex of all that, historical domestic BS. Of course, I'll be filling some other areas, historical, ancestral, domestic BS. That's ultimately why I left Portland, because I came to the conclusion that Portland's evil past and Portland's evil present and the dark intentions of those moving to Portland, those outsiders that are all about the diamond ring, baby, all about the wealth and the high property values, they're going to turn that city into a prison, into a hell, into just this city that I could just see like falling into the city with people screaming, "Help me! Help me!" Like, seriously, like tapping into that with my third eye, like, whoa, Portland's heading to hell. Time to get out. Costilla County ain't heading to hell. I think the hellish parts are happening right now. We're working out something. We need to cleanse out these bad energies and just tell them to get out. We're here with the intention to work together with whatever race, any person, you know what, I don't care what religion as long as it's not a racist religion. A lot of these Mormons, though, out here, they're in their own little world voluntarily. So if I'm from the line of Cain, if their eyes, do I really want to work with Mormons? The answer is no. I don't want to work with anyone that makes judgment on my skin tone and whether it's leaning more towards the darker or more towards the lighter. And then I have the darker hating me for not being as dark. And then I have some whiter hating me for not being as white. Of course, no one wants to acknowledge that that's been my life history. And so I've learned about the racist darks and the racist whites. And I've learned that they're both insane. And that there's something that ties us all together. And I came here to get away from that shit. The forces of evil here want us to think that you're not going to trick me into thinking, no, I'm white, well, now I'm this, well, now I'm this, oh, I'm not. Those labels don't work on me. Portland got me ready for this nonsense in Costilla County. I'm here as a messenger to tell those listening, get a hold of your demons, whoever you are, whatever you are, and don't let anybody box you into a wall and make you feel like a victim. Stand up for yourself and your dignity and your community, but understand you need to have a larger scope beyond race when you think community. How can we help each other? How can people get outside the box of hating people based on their ancestors being different? There is no happiness. There is no health. There is no sanity to a society stuck in racism. That's number one. That's the number one way you deal with your demons, is you deal with your hatred of those that aren't your kind, whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're any group from any country in the Middle East today, or whether you're from Africa, or whether you're from Asia. Until people get a hold of their own inner archon, their own inner jinn, their own inner demon, their own inner reptilian that is confused by illusions of separation. It isn't even until they overcome those limitations of the mind that they actually awaken and begin to heal and begin to evolve spiritually. And it's only then that they have a potential to get outside this control matrix. So looking at San Luis, we, those living off grid, will not allow those demons to frighten us. We will continue to speak the truth. And I ask you, you can pray to your Creator, that we should ask for spirits of the true light, not misleading spirits. Be very careful when you ask for help. But we will ask those true angels of this region and of this galaxy for help now in removing the possession spirits from this valley. Let's get rid of them. It's time for the possession spirits that are fucking with the people here, trying to create war. It's time for them to go home. Visualize the whole area. Look at Google Earth. Type in Google Earth. Type in Costilla County, San Luis. Zoom out. Visualize the whole area being grounded out to the center of the earth literally a tube, a giant tube that runs from this area. You put a circle under it and you ground it and you hook it to the core of the earth. This is an old technique to ground your own body. I'm asking you to ground out this region. Ground out Costilla County. Ground out the Archon interference. And bring in the sun and the celestial energies and the natural earth energies to restore us to a sense of balance. Above and below. Below and above. Balance. Up and down. Male, female. Balance. We restore the cosmic earth balance to Costilla County. And we ground the archonic interference. The demonic influence, the games of the jinn. There is a supernatural energy here that does nothing but turn people against each other. And for years, it's turned people in the prairie against each other. Before the issues with Costilla County and the Sheriff's Department, I was hearing stories about people out here fighting each other. Ground out that energy and give it seriousness and focus. And also ground out yourself. Ground out your own demons. Don't put yourself on a pedestal. Understand how we're affected by the energies of our environment. These are my recommendations for the people watching this as a spiritual solution, because there's no longer any doubt in my mind. This is spiritual warfare, and this is one of dozens of ways to deal with it. Focus on this region and ground out the interference. And bring in the powers of the sun and the earth, then celestial light, and restore this to a place of balance. I have said enough. The message is out there. Do your best, and we'll talk to you in the next video.